My name is Lise Ågaard Knudsen, and this is Karen Eidebøen.
And we're doing a project at RAPP that is called I Remember... and it's about the memory.
One of the conversations that we had in the beginning was this thing about how there are certain memories that are very accessible to you. Like when you meet a new partner or a new friend, these will be kind of the stories you'll tell, like about how you grew up, or your parents are like this, and this happened to me at this point. But then there are also the memories that are kind of a bit deeper, that you don't remember every day or every second day or every month or whatever. And that it would be interesting if some of these would kind of resurface, and not talking about deep dark secrets or anything, but just everyday stuff that you don't think about all the time. But when you start talking about school, or talking about your first friend, or how you like to run around naked, that some of these extra memories will resurface. We were trying to make it more and more specific, and I think we were discussing like photographs and different things, and then we came up with the idea that it might be like a nice tangible way of exchanging, that you have a photograph and that's from your childhood, and then you ask a question about the other's childhood. So you're giving some of yourself and you're asking to receive something from the other. So that would be a nice way to meet.
If I get something from Lise that inspires me, my thought is that that's not maybe the first memory I would access, but that's maybe something else that I hadn't thought of for a long time. And discovering what a well of things there are. One question I got from Lise was like, what made you very excited and happy as a child? And at first I was like, maybe I was like not very happy as a child, because I couldn't relate it. But then I saw the snow falling, and I was like, yeah, snow. And then I thought of all these things that it was good to discover that I'd been actually not a sad child when all these things came up.
And then for me, you can look at the body the same way and the memory in the same way, that you've got this kind of container that has all this information put into it, and this information is like sounds and smells and images from not just your childhood, of course, but we wanted to focus on childhood because it's kind of a contained time in your life that you have a certain relationship with, and that as long as you're not a child, then that will be something that you can look back at. But yeah, we've been trying to identify different triggers. So we've got the body, where you can give it different sensations, and then you've got the senses, where it's more like smell and taste and hearing. And
maybe that's what we were a bit interested to see, if some of these triggers were more efficient, or brought you into the memories in a different way. But of course, text, like written or spoken text, is a very important trigger. And it's hard to say that it's only about the hearing or the seeing. Because so much lying in the language. It seems to be, in terms of the efficiency, important that people are active participants rather than just passive receivers, if we think about the processes that seem to generate resonance and or a balance of being active and being receiving. Looking for an exchange with people. We had tried the different tasks before between us, and we wanted to a bit throw them out there to see what could come up and learn from that, but also to in a way gather some material that we might use later.
We did the same exchange as we have done on our own, with an image and a question. like giving that to someone else, getting responses, and then from the responses you make a response again. We did lots of like writing exercises with just like having a theme or a question about childhood, so school, for instance, or what made you really happy and excited. We worked with the senses. We worked with the 5 senses, approaching an orange.
And in both the writing exercises and the sensuous exercise of orange, we tried out having the written responses or other types of responses being responded to again. So like they had to exchange between them.
Yeah, so in general we're trying to work with this kind of chain of events. Well, one thing was having a structured text, like a poem, and from the poem trying to make a movement. So changing the words into movement. We tried that in different forms. We had one where we thought like, now it makes sense. You start with a photo, and from the photo you write a text, which is a free text. And then from the text you write a structured text, which is a poem. And from the structured text you try to make a still position, with your body. So then you make a live photo. So you started with a photo and you end with a live photo.
And her singing used to annoy me a lot, so I used to cover my ears in order not to hear that.
When I was a kid, I used to do gymnastics.
And there was this tiny space between the wardrobe and the wall. And I put the lamp there, and I used to sit there and draw when I wanted to be on my own.
We also have a task that is perhaps a little bit different, where one person leads the other one through the space with no sight, and place them in different positions. And the position that you're put in triggers memories from your childhood. And that you talk them out, and they are recorded. And this is repeated during 5 minutes, and then afterwards we work with reconstructing it.
So in the reconstruction, the one who was walking was retracing the walk and retracing the different positions and placements in the room, while the other one was then taking over the role of retelling the memories that actually belonged to the person in the position.
Exposition was like this, but I don't
Where do
know
you think it was?
Here?
Oh.
Like this? That way.
Yeah, this,
I have to. Okay.
yeah.
Mm.
This reminds me of gymnastics. I used to do gymnastics.
I think with the position, it makes me look as if I'm an observer of my own picture of my body and my memory, but I'm more on the outside. And the smell for me was more like, now I'm sitting there as a child eating that bread.
I found someone asking me my memories slightly stressful. Not because of the exercise, but just because I had to search in my own memory. And I don't have any trauma that I'm avoiding, but that I think of. But still, I found that someone asking me for my memories as something quite personal. I felt that if someone would come tell me your first memory, if I don't really know them, normally my memories are something I volunteer to people. They're not something someone asks me for. And so, so I felt not uncomfortable, but just like I was being tested.
Our expectations were pretty open in the sense that we were very open to see if people would understand our instructions and would actually remember anything, and also how much they would be willing to share.
Something totally different than I imagined I would tell about. And remember. Yeah. It's very funny.
So it's not stuff you think about often or remember often?
No. No.
The memories that you that came to mind now, are they memories that you often think about?
Which is very funny. No.
I was a bit surprised, like I didn't think that would be surprising, that
That they remember things.
not that they remember, but that they shared it, or like, or some certain memories. Maybe the openness, like a bit, surprised me, when there's someone you don't know at all, and they so easily just tell stories.
I was really surprised with some of the things that how quickly you remember things and how quickly you remember from the body. I find it quite exciting to see again today, like bringing in other people and giving them some stimuli and then having them just react straight away, and they haven't been in the memory space for 8 days non-stop. So that kind of shows that you can do it quite fast, and it seems very random, but at the same time you can tell that it's coming from their body memory. It's coming, like something is like saying, coming out from the experience and sensation.
I think what we're doing, structuring or like looking, like pulling apart the elements of the tasks actually that we've done. It's not the way I would think of working, so in a way that's really like a new way of thinking, and it's such a good way of to visualize things. So I guess the structuring of our thoughts in a way. Of course, resonance, like, because that's a very important thing, I think, in this sharing of memories. Like, so even if you don't relate exactly, you can, it's about the connection between.
Yeah.
And we found it quite strong to hear the other person voicing our memory and what they did remember or not remember, and how they had understood it actually. So there was something there about what we give out, how is it actually being.
And something, in the appropriation of the words. So your words are my words now, and I can take your images and make them my images and present them again. And then, so there's, when you appropriate, there's something of a mirroring happening, and looking at that mirroring and see what does that do, and does that change. We also have, one of the qualities also interpretation. So it's also about, in the sharing, how do you meet what's being shared, and how do you reflect it back, or how do you change it, transform it.
Apple, pill, pill, apple, pill, 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 apple, 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 pill, 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 apple, apple, appelsin, appelsin, apple, pill, pill, pill. Tag, appelsin, tag den, så den appelsin, apple, pill, pill. Tag så den appelsin, tag den, så den appelsin.
And if you're just like desperately trying to remember, so it's very much about the triggers and the telling, somehow the sharing that opens up this whole pool.
Asking you the question, and then you come with a story, and there are different things that we do that trigger other memories, but also something about writing, about speaking, that seems to accumulate more things. The act of talking seems to like
Make it roll. It's like the ball's rolling. Not even.
You can do it again.
many words that we are using, and one of them is exhaustion, and we are trying to exhaust memories. We are trying to exhaust ways of performing or sharing.
Ways of triggering.
Ways of triggering memories, yeah. In different ways.
And I feel a bit exhausted.
Yeah.
Is that your point?
Not a bit, because like we spend so much time like digging in our own archives of memories and our own childhoods.
Yeah, and I think like very like selfishly, I've been quite impressed with how many different expressions we've been able to share, and how we've been able to, for 8 days, to keep finding memories, but also keep inspiring each other. And Thank you, Khan. No, I think that's really nice.